Thank you so much for joining us on Straight Outta Savannah, talking with Tammi. My guest, Indigo, the Oracle go-to guru, is here, and I'm super excited and grateful that she's decided to join us. She's going to share a little bit about who she is and what it is that she does, and she's going to talk a little bit about her show that is going to be on Mupo TV. So, Indigo, take it away.
Yes, my name is Indigo. I am a published author. I am also a certified life coach, and I'm going back to school to get a bachelor's degree in psychology. So what I do is I help get people to understand that life doesn't have to stay the way it is. You can change those obstacles in your life and end generational curses that were not your fault. They were due to your past and your generational issues with your family. And I reconstruct, I basically call it a blueprint. I show them a blueprint on how to change every step in their life, from the way they think, the way they speak, the way they feel, and the way they envision their future. Because you first have to go through a change in order to see the transformation and then appreciate the values of life in order to understand what you need to do and to have the direction you need in life.
That's powerful.
Yeah, man. I don't play.
So how did you, let's get started with this. How did you know that was a place where you were called?
Actually, it's been a little over 10 years now. I want to say about 10 years ago, I ended up getting really sick. My health was kind of just all over the place. And I had seen every single doctor you could think of to try to figure out like what was going on with me. I kind of felt like my body was at war with itself. Mm-hmm. And, being in my mid-20s, it was kind of like, where do I go from here? I had 3 kids. I didn't know what I was doing myself. I had horrible marriages. I was already, almost in my mid-30s, second marriage down. And I still didn't find love and happiness. And I had to realize that, what was I doing wrong? What was I doing wrong? Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't realize that we're quick to blame everyone else, but like, do we ever take a realization to kind of look at ourselves and say, where did we go wrong? Yes. Because, if things are not working, then maybe there's a little growth that you have to do, and that requires you to change the way you're doing things in life in order to see a difference, in order to not have a repeat of the past. It's called the past because we're trying to leave it there, not take it to the future with us. The future just means new beginnings, new obstacles, new outcomes, new journeys to learn, we're always going through chapters. We're always going through different stories. We're building our book. And what book do we choose to give people? A horror story, a war story, a battle of survival, the survival of the fittest, the journey of love. There's so many different versions of our story we can have if we choose to learn those things about ourselves.
That is so powerful. So so before you began on that particular journey, what were you doing previously? I mean, what were you? Yeah.
I was headed towards my second divorce. I was in the middle of dealing with my health. I had got bad news about my health, and it's like I always kept feeling like my health was a curse. And like, what did I do to deserve this? Like, what cruel joke was done to me? And it's up until recently I've learned that, why I've had so many issues, and it's not my fault. It's just what happened to my mother that ended up being, I'm the product of what happened to my mother, through her health. And because my mother had lead poisoning, and she was all destroyed in the inside, and that's what created everything that wasn't working right in me. And my life just bad relationships. I had my kids. I was young when I had my kids. And I explained this to my daughter not that long ago. You know, when you're a teenager raising a child, your mind is still a child. So you're a child raising a child. Don't no child want to raise no child realistically. But when you were raised partially right, you know your responsibility is to take care of this kid.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I did. But I wanted to live my life and do my own things too. And no one ever showed me love the right way. Like I seen a lot of destruction at home. Like I remember being 8, 9 years old and hiding under tables because I was seeing like abuse in the house and alcoholism in the house and drug addiction in the house. And I witnessed so many things that were traumatizing at that age. And I carried it. And a lot of the time I thought that a lot of things in my life, I was the fault or I was the problem. And even though I was living with people who loved me, I felt very unloved, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like I wanted the picket fence and the mom and the dad and the siblings, and I wanted that life. And I dreamed about it till I was an adult. And then I wanted it for myself. So I kept trying to force that in relationships. And I kept looking for relationships I can fix. And it's not so much that I needed to fix the relationship as I needed to fix myself. And I was so used to being a parent at such a young age that I started to use my relationship just ended up being a parenting process. Like I was the doer and I was the supporter, or and I was the one that was always the foundation. It's like I was the mom. And I always collected those kind of relationships. And I had a psychiatrist friend and it was a guy who happened to tell me, tell me about yourself. Who are you? And I mentioned this in my book, and I say, well, I'm a nice person, and I do for others, and I care, and I work hard. No. What kind of person are you? Who are you?
Who are you?
Oh, well, yeah, I can answer that question. Yeah. We're gonna have to get back to that, to be continued. Because I had lost myself because I never knew myself. I never got a chance to smell myself. So I was too busy smelling booties and wiping butts and and going to school and working and dealing with bad relationships that I never had an opportunity to know who I was. And I lost all my passions. Like I was an artist. I was a singer. I was a writer. There were so many things I was into, and photography. Like I used to dance in school. I was cheerleading. I used to be so many different things. And I let my life I became the product of my environment. I let the world live me. I stopped living in the world. And I started to do everything that everyone else wanted me to do.
So
And
you
nothing
lost yourself.
Yes, I was doing nothing that was making me happy. It got to the point where like I remember telling my husband now, I've known this man my whole life. And he's always been the one that I've gone to have conversations and talk to about other guys and just all this craziness. And he used to tell me, don't stress things you have no control over, and just live your life. And I wasn't doing that. I didn't know how to do that.
Right.
I was such an angry person that like I didn't know how to be a happy person. What is that? What color was happy? Because all I saw was a lot of black and darkness. I stayed in the darkness all the time. Everything to me was black walls and black ceilings and black floors. It's like I didn't see color. I looked at people and I saw shadows. You know, I seen the trees and I didn't see the colors. I didn't see flowers, and I seen darkness. I was so miserable and so unhappy and lived in so much depression. And no one ever knew I was depressed. No one, no, and it's crazy because I had got to the point where, and this is how you learn when your true friends are, because when I had my surgery 3 years ago, I wasn't doing too good. And no one bothered to check on me, but two people, my husband, who wasn't my husband, and my godson's mom. And she was going through her own stuff. And then it got to the point where I was in extreme pain. I was alone. I had no help other than my children. And that was a lot on me because I was going through a divorce with a man that knew what I was about to go through and still chose to leave me. And then made me promises and then reneged on them.
Wow.
Knowing that I would need that help. And it got so dark inside with me that I had became a moth. And it was like, I ended up posting stuff on social media sites. And I was like, if I were to literally not exist on the world right now, would anyone even notice? And the only people that responded to that were those two people.
So you went through your own personal dark night of the soul.
Oh yeah. Real deep too. It got ugly. It got really ugly because I had to face things.
I was going to say, as you emerged out of this thing, you had to really dive deep and go inside of yourself and pull these things out, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was crazy how it happens, because the night before the whole idea of this whole book thing even happened was I was so sick and tired of just being sick and tired. And I prayed like a mad person that night before. And I said, Lord, I'm tired. I was physically tired, mentally tired, emotionally tired. My body was drained. I suffer from chronic pain syndrome. So I'm in pain all the time. And my body, the smallest little touches feel like pain to me. Because my body's backwards and the signals are crossed, and it doesn't understand that feeling is just feeling. It's not pain. And so that, dealing with bad relationships and toxic family members and just craziness in the house, and my grandfather dying, and a close friend of the family had passed away from self. And it was just a lot going. My daughter getting hit by a car and almost dying. It was like there were so many things happening. I was so I'm just over with it. I ended up telling God, like, something has to change. Something has to change. The following night, I ended up having a dream. And the dream told me that everything in my life was about to do a whole 360. Now, mind you, an aunt of mine had, I don't know if you're into tarot. I stepped away from it, the last few years, because I don't have to prove myself through toys anymore. And she told me that I was going to get remarried at 39 to someone from my past, and my whole life was going to change. I turned 39 this year. I got married the day before my birthday, before I turned 39, and to my best friend, someone I've known from the past. And my whole life is doing a whole 360. So, and he's actually the reason why I ended up doing the book, because the book came into my mind after that night, that following night of the prayer. Can I curse up here?
You can.
Okay, I'm going to censor myself. So I had an F that moment where I basically said, I was done. I looked at my husband at the time and said, F that. My daughter walked in with her bad attitude. I said, F that. All the craziness in the house. F that. I was done. I was done. And then the idea of the book popped in my head. And then I talked to my best friend, which is my husband now, and he said, do it. And then I ended up going to this thing for this book convention, and it kind of just went from there. And when I decided to do my book, though nobody could tell your story better than you.
That's right.
And so I felt that how can I help people? I got a backwards brain. I always say I got a backwards brain because I see things backwards sometimes. But I get bored and I get distracted very easily because I have ADHD and I'm an adult. Plus, I like to read things that I can get involved in. And I figured I want to make my book, a journal, and a manual all in one. So I tell on myself. And I tell people everything about me, what they need to know. Because if somebody got something to say about me, I've already said it. And I show you how to overcome all of those toxic things about myself that I got over. I self-taught myself. I took psychology. I learned books. I was self-teaching myself. I was learning a lot about myself that I didn't like about myself. And it was an ugly battle between good and bad in that mirror. Ooh, it got ugly. It got physical sometimes too.
So you was getting those shadows.
I remember that movie with Jim Carrey when he beats himself up in a bathroom. If you've never seen that movie, you gotta see that movie. But I really felt like that because it was like, if you don't get it together, you stupid fool. Don't nobody got time for your attitude. Put that ego down. Put that manipulation down. Stop being a narcissist, like for real. You know you're manipulator. Do that. Like I got ugly with myself, and I was like, I am toxic. And I had to pick and prod things from myself that was good and bad. And I had to realize where I had got it from. And all the things that I was trying so hard not to be, I ended up being.
Oh, wow. Say that again.
Everything that I was trying so hard not to be, I ended up being.
Wow. See, because that right there is a thing.
Yes.
Because it's like we look at stuff and we judge ourselves based on other people, and we say, oh, I don't want to be that, or I want to be that, or whatever. And then you end up not knowing who the hell you are, and then you got to figure that out. And just like you said, when you look at it, you end up being that person that is not you, but it is.
Yes. And I literally had this conversation this morning on my little thing that I do sometimes on my social media site. And because I just had something on the top of my mind and I felt some type of way. And the way I felt was like, I heard a long time ago that once you hit the age of 5 years old, you know better. Now they're saying you're 6 years old, but 5 or 6, whatever. You know better. So that means that 5 and 6 years old, you're being judged. And from here on out, God is looking at you and you're being looked at by everything you do from here on out. And so if you have a parent, a person that's supposed to be teaching you, you are a product of my environment. I watched you. I am a sponge to you. I am a perfect replica of you. So if you're showing me nothing but toxic, guess what? All I am is toxic. So I don't know authority. I don't know respect. I don't know discipline. I don't know structure. I don't know education. I don't know this and I don't know that, because you've never taught me those things. I know how to beat somebody up. I know how to get crazy with somebody. I know how to be disrespectful. I know how to be dirty, and I know how to not do this and this and that. Because there's no structure in this world no more.
Right.
If you look at the world right now, I just seen a commercial today for a movie that's going to come out. I'm not going to mention what it is, but it seemed very, very the agenda these days.
Seems very what?
the agenda these days.
Oh, got you. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it don't make sense to me. Like, so what's the point here? What's the catch? You know? And then talking about what we were talking about earlier, I was censored. I was censored for stating how I felt. And I feel that if I have a child and I have the God-given right to discipline you, I have the right to put you in your place, I have the right to make sure that you're structured. I have that right.
Yeah.
But we don't have that right. But you're telling me that someone else has the right to beat on my child, to holler at my child and tell them that they are nothing, that they are property, that they are a receipt, that they are nobody, and that no one cares or loves them. How does that make sense? We don't have the right to discipline our children, but others have the right to control how our children live. Ooh, the devil is a lie today. You seen how that paused like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of a sudden the connection's unstable, but it was fine all before.
Mm-hmm.
The other 22 minutes we've been talking.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
I was silenced earlier because I stated how I felt. And I told a friend of mine earlier that the worst thing you can do is try a mama or a papa bear. Don't try us. Because we love our families hard. And when you try the parents and we come up together united after the same cause, ain't nobody got the right to take out our babies but us. We brought your ass in the world. Sorry, we gonna take you out. I got that right. I brought you in.
Mm-hmm.
No one else got that right.
Exactly. I agree with that.
And this government and our communities are thinking that it's okay for them to dictate how we live our lives. And they put dollars on our souls. Ain't no dollar replace no soul.
That's exactly right. That is exactly right. So we're gonna wrap it up.
Yep.
Because we've gotten to this place.
Yep, we did.
I want to ask you, I have to ask you this question. What is something that you are curious about in the world that has nothing to do with business or your life or anything, but just anything that you're curious about?
I'm trying to get into activism. And I feel that I was given a God-given gift to make a change. And I have a voice, and I've always been powerful with that voice. And I think it's time now to make some noise.
It's time.
It's time. It's less about what we are. I don't know if you can see me. It's less about what we are, and it's more about what we are. We need to help us as people helping people, because ain't nobody else caring about us but us.
That's true. All right. So if you had to help somebody, like if somebody came to you and they said, I'm going through this, or I need help with this, what would you tell them? What's the first thing that you talk to them about?
I build a relationship with my clients, and I want to be your friend. Because I want you to feel comfortable with me and know that I'm gonna hold your hand and I'm gonna show you where you need to go. But after that, you kind of got to get it from there. I'm never gonna leave somebody behind. I can't do that. That's not a moral oath.
I got you. Oh boy, that I'm laughing because that's like the second time I've heard that in a week.
Yeah.
And somebody else has said the same type of thing. I was like, wow, that's pretty neat. No one left behind.
No one left behind. We can't. We can't. We're living in this world where we cannot leave anybody behind because look, no one cares about us. We need to care about us. And it starts with us first. We can't
Exactly.
build unless we start with us.
This is exactly right. You have to start with yourself. All right. So let the people know how they can connect with you if, and also what type of clients are you looking for?
So right now with my networking company, Work Build Love Umbrella Networking Solutions, I'm looking to partner with pretty much anyone who's into helping communities with resources and getting stable and also getting the psychological help that they need to get where they need to be in life. So, you know, schools, I'm into counseling, counselors. I want to make noise. So I want to help people and I want other people to want to help other people. Like the world doesn't know how to be nice these days. And I don't understand why.
People are crazy. That's why.
you know. Yeah. So the best way to find me though is www.workbuildloveshy.com or WhatsApp 312-509-3411. Those are the main, or just hashtag Work Build Love.
Sounds good. Okay, well, we are going to put all of those details in the description of the video, the audio, wherever it is you listen to or watch this. You'll have those details with her links and her bio and all that stuff. So I'm super excited and grateful that she's decided to join me today on Straight Out of Savannah, talking with Tammi. It's just been amazing. As usual, the conversation was exciting. It was on point. It was also educational, which is always a plus when we come on Straight Out of Savannah talking with Tammi. So again, thank you guys for hanging out with us and for joining us. And if you are wanting to connect with Miss Indigo, check out her links, all that stuff, and her bio and everything. In this way, when you're ready to connect with her, you know where to find her. So again, thank you so much for hanging out and for joining us on Straight Out of Savannah, talking with Tammi and my guest, Indigo, the Oracle Go-To Guru. So again, I appreciate all of you for watching. Make sure that you hit that like, that share, subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube, and make sure you hit that like on Anchor or Google or Apple or whatever platform you are listening to this show on. So again, and if you are a person who is changing the planet and you would like to come on my show, reach out to me as well and make sure that you can get on my calendar because it is filling up. It is almost done for the year. So again, thank you so much for joining. Bye now.